Yeah.
Okay. So, welcome back to totally not the second attempt at doing this. A Yahiri One no Sesu Love Comedy wa Machikate.
Might as well just call it typical high school romance comedy. Okay? That's what they call it in the intro. Let's just go with that rather than trying to say this terrifyingly horrible name.
And because it was Poison's suggestion, and he likes doing this, Poison.
Yes.
What's the show generally about?
Hachiman Hirogaya is an apathetic high school student with narcissist and semi-nihilist tendencies. He firmly believes that joyful youth is nothing but a farce, and everyone who says otherwise is just lying to themselves.
I agree. Continue.
In the novel, punishment for writing an essay mocking at modern social relationships, Hachiman's teacher forces him to join a volunteer service club, a club that aims to extend a helpful hand to any student who seeks their support in achieving their goals.
Basically, skeet dance. Continue.
With the only other club member being a beautiful ice queen, Yukino Yukimashi.
Oh god, this is literally skeet dance.
Hachiman finds himself in the front line of other people's problems, a place he never dreamed he would be. End.
Okay. I'm sorry.
I didn't necessarily mean so robotic, but that works too.
Yeah, I'm sorry. When you were reading that, I realized this is just literally skeet dance. And I hate that show for a good reason. But, okay.
Oh, I was going to the characters.
Get on with the characters.
Where's my mouse? Oh, there it is. All right, so let's talk about the first character, the main character.
Mm-hmm.
Loser. An orange-haired chick doesn't count. It's the only picture I found.
They show it through two different perspectives, sir. They have two main characters in essence.
Really? But it focuses around
the girl. It focuses on a guy, but it also focuses on a girl too. Like especially towards like the mid-end of the first season, they kind of switch more towards her. You know, with her family issues and stuff, like her sister complex, and they really start getting into that.
I feel like he's the only main character because the camera follows him exclusively, pretty much.
Yeah, he's a protagonist.
I guess so.
You don't ever see, like, if the camera followed her, I might say that.
I guess so. I just feel like they made her, she feels like the premise of the second half of the show, so I declare her the main character. You know, I mean, I guess you could say he's still the main character, but I feel like the story's about her, not about him at that point, where he just kind of has a couple moments. You know, but I just feel like they kind of pulled away from him being the MC at that point. But okay.
Alright, so Poison, how'd you like the main character?
I liked him. He's a different main character.
Yeah.
Compared to like Kirito, which is like the staple MC.
No, Kirito is nowhere near the staple MP. Do not compare him to Jesus Kun, sir. That is an insult.
Okay, name a better one.
Name a better one. Literally any other main character.
No, that's
like Kaito from Hitman Reborn. Like the main character from Hitman Reborn. I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now.
From Hunter x Hunter.
Gon from Hunter x Hunter.
His name's Susanoo-kun. I think something like that. It's R-T-S-K.
Kenshin from History's Mighty Disciple.
Kenshin from Samurai anime, and I forgot the name of Rurouni Kenshin.
Kenshin from Rurouni Kenshin. No.
Yeah.
I meant to say Kenshi, yes, but Kenshi from History's Strongest Disciple.
Character qualities, like
this guy is nowhere near Kirito. Kirito's a 35-year-old, well-matured, well-knowledgeable man in an MMO, in a 16-year-old's body.
Kirito's 35. Oh yeah, I was about to say.
He acts like a 35-year-old. There's literally one part in one of the seasons where his waifu Asuna was bitching about, I can't find another character, and he's like, oh, she's at this hospital. They never say how he figured out where the fuck she was there.
For some reason.
He just knows it. Like, he just hands it to him. Yeah, no, he just knows it out of nowhere. And Bear from Die Hack, another good example, but at least he was intended.
He's like in his 40s or 50s or some shit.
And a lot of the lore where he pulls stuff out randomly is older stuff.
Yeah.
So it made sense that he knew that. You know, it was more relatable, whereas, where is Yuki, or whatever the fuck I don't remember. But wherever the fuck this chick was who had AIDS. Literally, that's not even just an age reference. You know, where is she? And he's like, oh, she's here. Here you go. Never says anything about it. Just knows out of fucking nowhere. So you can't compare anyone else because nobody else has moments that extreme. And that isn't the only time he does that. Okay. All right. No.
Back to the story. To the maker.
Sorry.
I liked him. He was a bit overbearing in the first 2 episodes, I feel. He had 1 or 2. He has monologues a lot, and 1 or 2 of them at the beginning were a bit too much, and then they kind of toned back. And every one that they toned back a bit from the beginning, it became more and more relatable and more sympathetic towards him. Whereas in the beginning, he was so strong in one direction. He was like the extreme, and it kind of was off. But after the first episode, I was kind of on his side for the most of it. I never really didn't like him, but I never really liked him too much. He's one of those. He's one of the character I sympathize more with than like. So he was alright. Right, Rudden, how about you?
I loved him at the beginning because he's just like every like serious loner in high school. He's just an even more extreme version of all those little thoughts you have. He does and takes a mile further, and I thought that was very refreshing. Watching him more humanizing and make you more sympathetic towards him, I felt like took away from his essence of what his character was. So I actually grew to like him less over the duration of the series compared to you who started to like him more because I liked how extreme he was. I thought it was hysterical.
Did you have anything else you want to run out? Because we kind of diverted when we were talking about yours.
Yeah, apologize.
No, it's fine. It's fine. No, I didn't really say.
Sorry.
All right.
Kind of...
So, let's talk about the Ice Queen that he calls. I forget her name.
Yukino.
She was annoying. For her being like one of the love interests, it was so fucking annoying. Every single I don't even know how anyone thought like, oh, it's a lover's quarrel or it's a love spat and they actually like each other. Because every single time she ever talked to him was negative. She was spiteful. She was always rude, mean, and insensitive. There was one moment, and I think that was at the very end of the show, that she actually was even a tiny little bit nice to him. And that was after he made a villain of himself to the entire school. And after that, it's like, no, I don't really see how... For instance, the pink-haired chick, I can see how she's the love interest. But for the black-haired chick, I don't know how that was supposed to be like they're similar. Don't get me wrong, they are similar to each other. They're just 2 loners on different paths that took 2 different paths to get to where they were. But to have a strong love interest, I think that was a bit much. She had a couple scenes where I was like, oh, I like that. But person I would hang around or want to be around, not exactly, because of how consistently cruel she was. Poison or Rudden?
No, I guess I'll go next. Yeah, no, she was I like the other girl a little bit more, but yeah, she was fine. Right, it was just like that cold exterior kind of character I've known from like other animes.
My opinion, she's what is it? Tsundere? Who's not Tsundere? She's only half. You know, she only has that bitch mode. I didn't like that.
I think.
Yeah, kind of, but. You know, so it's like, and it's like what Shadow was saying, how she always talked to him. Is like also might add is she always talked to him in the same tone, so it was never like a fluctuation to kind of even make it appear jokey for anyone to think about that. You know, I felt at the last couple episodes, in a few moments, it changed. Yes, you know, I mean, you saw signs of it when she was sick a little. You know, which is also weird. She was sick as a dog for just one day and perfectly fine the next. But let's not talk about that.
Just anime.
I thought her story was really weak. It's like I didn't mind her being a love interest. Just the reason they made her the love interest was I felt kind of lame and kind of a cop out. You know, it's like her dog was the dog he saved that caused him all the trauma.
That was the pink girl. But
yeah, I know. I don't
that is going in on something that I really fucking hate. Where they're like, you know, I was fine with him and the pink-haired girl. That was fine. But for her having the car that hit him was a bit much.
That was so. It's like, no, it was so stupid. Like, he was saving the pink girl's dog and hit by the black girl's car. It's like, okay, there is a thing called coincidence. And then
there's suspension of disbelief has gone out the window 7 times.
And it's like, you just completely just kicked me out of your whole universe that I was semi-immersed into, trying to break down these interesting, these off-the-wall characters. You know, because the show does have it does go to all spectrums. It's extreme one way, extreme another, and a little bit in the middle. And I like that. But it's like the second that premise hit, which was, I think, 5 or 6.
It was after they went to the camp.
Yeah, it was somewhere around there. It was like right when they came back. Yeah, and it was like, that was just a big kick in the nuts, you know. But yeah, so that's, you know, besides that, I liked her as a character. I just felt that was forced, you know, rather than having her just always kind of like being like, I always kind of watched you and I always saw you were doing things to hurt yourself to help everybody. And I fell in love with that aspect of you. It was, you saved my dog. I love you. Now let me find more reasons to love you. Horrible. Just horrible. Completely ruined that character for me. I'm sorry, I jumped ahead of character.
Yeah, it's fine.
I was the last one on Yukio anyway, so I did Yukio and then I did my next one. So one of you can go.
Poison. How'd you feel about Pink Hair Girl?
I liked her. I thought it was more that she originally did it purely for the fact that he saved her dog, but then she grew to know him. So it was more like honest that way. That's just my impersonation of it.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with Poison a bit. I actually kind of liked that a bit, but she does encapsulate some of the tropes that I hate in these kinds of shows. For instance, women don't know how to cook. It's like, cooking isn't difficult. Stop pretending it's the most complex thing in the world. It's cookies, sugar, flour, vanilla, mix, egg, separate. It's not complex.
And set a fucking timer.
Yeah, that seems like it was one of their biggest issues all the time.
Complicated thing ever is using a timer.
Cooking's not difficult. I hate when shows are like, it might be something in Japan because maybe the rooms are smaller so they don't know how to cook like pastries and stuff as much. I don't know. It just seems like there's always a disconnect between. It's one of those disconnects that always pisses me off. It's like the teacher. It's like, oh, you mean this D-cup woman who looks like she's early 20s, who's hot as hell and sexy as unbelievably, but is a little bit of an ice queen every now and again? You're telling me she doesn't have a boyfriend or is married? Bullshit. I call fucking bullshit. I call bullshit so hard, it's not funny.
Doesn't start a relationship.
Fucking marry that woman in a second if I saw her. What are you fucking talking about?
Months, these shows going on, she never gets in any type of relationship.
Like, are you fucking kidding me? Ugh. It's those tropes that always drag shit like this down. I feel, and it does it just under the amount where I would grade it negatively for doing it. But unfortunately, the show kind of follows reference humor a bit too much, just a wee bit, because it's 3 things that I know and love, and it pisses me off. I'll get to that later. So does anybody have anything to say about any of the other characters that are in? Actually, I'll start. The side characters that are jocks, like the popular group, I liked. I didn't like them, but I liked how their group worked. Because it was super real. The one thing this show does is actually, you can tell that people who wrote this show, or whoever wrote this show, and if it was one person or a few people, they were actually loners in high school. Because it's things that you notice as a loner super hard that other groups just don't notice. And that was actually a really nice touch.
Yeah. I love that scene. That was great, that episode.
Where it's like, cool, who's doing it? Well, obviously they all just want to be with you because you're the one connector. So we take you out of the equation. And they have to learn to get along with each other.
It's like, well, you know what? It doesn't matter who's doing it. I know how to fix it. That's all that matters. It's like, wow.
Well, it worked, and that went away, so hey, it's fine.
Yeah. I like that. I mean, they made the trap joke a little too often with the tennis boy, you know, like, that just always kept reoccurring. That was, that got old.
That smile.
That got old. You
I
know,
loved
like
that.
it really got old. I liked it a
loved
couple times.
He wasn't
but
so
it
much
got
of a
old.
trap though, which I appreciated.
I
He was just a really cute boy, and he's like, I think I like men now. This is a problem.
you were a girl, I'd date you. What the fuck type of shit is that?
No, the best thing was when it first happened. He was like, "If you were a girl, I would have already proposed, and you would have already rejected me." Wait, rejected already?
One of my favorite scenes was in the camp. Is this a good morning kiss? Is this the moment I've been waiting for my entire life? And it's like, oh, it's you. Oh no. Just constantly. I like, oh no, and then also scenario when he was the team captain. And he started going off, was like, I want all of you to do your best. And he's like, this, and the 8th grade syndrome guy is sitting in the back going,
He
I have
didn't
seen
have
someone fall
8th
in
grade
love.
syndrome. They confirmed that.
He's sitting in the back, but he's looking at him, and he's looking at him talking to the trap boy. He's like, I'm witnessing somebody falling in love. That was awesome. I like that character.
I liked him. I just kind of like felt like they played on that a little too much, and it started to wear me down later on.
That joke was funny for me all the time. Just because they did it different ways each time, it wasn't like the same joke over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
The same vein, but it wasn't like the same concept.
No, I get what you're saying. It wasn't used the same way. They used it different ways. You know, it's just the premise gets old to me real fast.
It's just,
you know, it's like you do a trap joke 1 or 2, you know, and it's like, okay, that's funny, and then you move on to the actual character, and they kind of never really did. They just kind of kept going back to the trap. He looks like a girl joke, you know. It's like
I kind of went over story a little bit, but I get what you're saying.
You know, so it's like the trope gets old for me really fast. It's a trope that gets really old really fast. I find it hysterical when it first comes out, but it gets old really fast for me. And it started to get old. It took longer because he's one of, if not like one of the best trap characters I've ever seen, because of the way they use his jokes and the way they mix it up and they keep it fresh. But it's just the premise of the jokes got old. So I didn't like him because of that towards the end.
Anybody else have anything to say about like some of the side cast, some of the side characters, the background ones?
The main jock, whatever his name was.
Yeah, I don't remember his name. Yeah, it was just kind of funny how he's just like every time he's like, damn it, I thought he was superior again. He got me. Every time. You're like, damn it, I did it again. It's like, It's like, I know those moments. Just another thing that made the show feel more real with the internal monologue.
So,
yeah.
Guess we should move on to the episodes now if no one else has anything to say. Last call.
Yep, guess so.
Alright. So, first episode I was super fucking against it because I thought it was just going to be one of those 100,000 high school animes. And I was like, oh man, maybe I should get a drink. And I was like, this is going to be bad. I'm not going to do this at all. And then, of course, with the usual trend of shows, it apparently can't help but piss me off within 5 minutes. So the teacher fucking immediately did the dumbest shit of, I'm asking you to write about how you feel about your high school experience, and then being negative when you had a negative experience at your high school.
Yeah.
Like, you asked him to write. How are you punishing him for giving you the truth?
And like, he did what you asked, and you punished him for it.
Oh, that was one of the most...
There was a teacher who prefers dishonesty. Okay, teaching the great life lessons.
And then this was also the cooking episode too. I forget because it ran very quickly.
The cooking episode I don't think was episode 1.
No, it was episode 1.
Was
I wrote at the end like cooking isn't that fucking hard. It's granular Lego shit.
Again, the part that pissed me off about that was like, she's like, I can cook them perfectly. Why do you keep burning her? It's like, maybe you should tell her to take them out of the fucking oven. I would have preferred jokes about how maybe she missed ingredients. Why does this taste like bread?
Yeah.
You know, stupid stuff like that. I would have preferred those type of fuck ups
rather than just it looks weird or is crispy.
You're there watching her. They shouldn't be misshaped because you could fix that before it even gets cooked. You can tell her to fix that.
And even if they are misshapen, who cares? Literally, that has nothing to do with the cookie.
There's no reason they shouldn't have been taken out of the oven in time. And that is conceptually infuriating when they're all there trying to act like, I wonder why they're coming out burnt.
It's just that stupid, annoying trope.
Wow.
It feels like for how much detail this shows for how much detail it shows for like on the loner and the social groups and the more complex thing, the super fucking simple thing, they're just like, this is a mystery. How do you keep screwing this up? It's just like, what the fuck?
It's something to where it makes you laugh a little bit, and then if you think about it, you're like, okay.
Never made me laugh. I always hate that stuff.
Like, I giggled a little bit at first, just kind of as a reaction. Yeah. You know, and then I thought about it and I was like, yeah, it's just stupid.
However, it did lead to a good moment at the end where he's like, where he's holding the cookie and he's like, oh, this looks awful. I probably should just throw this away. And then he morphs and punches it down immediately and just like, just choke it down.
Yep.
He's like,
just force it down. Yep.
He's like, that was nice. Wasn't that bad. He's all like, oh, this was nice. That was a fun moment. Anybody have anything to say about the first episode? She gives him the thing. She gives him the shit for having the fucking...
shit for them. I felt like I didn't like the first interaction between the two, him and Yukio. I thought like it was meant to show how much she hated him, but it was kind of like they overplayed it. Like it just went on. Felt like it went on for so long. You know, I felt like that could have just been a 5-second, 10-second thing, and it went on for like 2 minutes. You know, like it just felt so long, and it's like that was just unnecessary because it doesn't take long to build premise when we already know what type of person he is. She just needs to give us a basic reaction. They don't need to have a 2-minute conversation where she's just talking shit to him the whole time. That's just kind of like, ugh. Like I didn't like that part.
Poison, you got anything or you good?
No.
I know it's supposed to be funny, but I didn't find it funny.
All right, second episode, one of my favorite episodes, the writer episode. Guy with the 8th grade syndrome.
Yes. Hey, he does not have 8th grade syndrome. They came to that acceptance at the end because of his rapid personality change. That's just how he gets into his weirdly pornographic writing.
Why does this girl suddenly take her clothes off for no reason?
Because you need to have the kind of fan service, otherwise people will never read. The viewers need to keep reading.
But if the writing is good, they wouldn't need to see it to keep reading.
That whole scene was awesome. I really appreciate that because when you write, the first thing you write is complete and utter trash because it's heavily influenced by things you know.
Yeah.
And they really did that, especially at the end where he's looking and he's like, yeah, it's all right. I mean, it's not bad, but what'd you steal it from? He's like, I didn't steal it. And he's just devastated, and he's like, oh no. I didn't steal everything. That was nice. I like that moment. So he was an awesome character. I was actually happy every time he showed up. He was always more entertaining than annoying consistently. So.
Yeah, he was a breath of fresh air, you know? I mean, like, when he started showing up towards the end, it kind of started bringing me back to the beginning with the main character, and it started kind of reminding me of him because of how off the wall he was. You know, because he lost so much of his off the wall antics, you know, that I fell in love with, like, through the show.
And you could kind of see a relationship building between him and the other girl.
Yeah, you could definitely see that.
Taste
yeah.
This is perfect. This is exactly the way it needs to be.
Yes.
Yes.
That was a nice little thing that showed up. I appreciated that. Anybody else got anything to say about the writer? Or is that it good? We good?
Man, he's a funny character.
Yeah, he was a funny character. I mean, I didn't have an issue with anything before that, like the whole lunch fiasco they had, you know, where or the pink girl tried to bring them all together for lunch, and the other girl tried to leave, and it was like that whole thing. I didn't mind that, you know, so yeah. And that was the only other thing that really happened in the episode.
Yeah.
3 is the episode where it started really winning me, like, to the side of, all right, this ain't bad, is basically where I was starting to... I started to feel like some of its intentions were a bit misplaced. Like, it didn't... I'm starting to feel that a lot in the beginning of shows where they don't exactly know what they're going for, and they see they got something going that's good, and then they focus more on that, like, 4 or 5 episodes in.
Yeah, because that's how you...
Well,
I can explain why that is. I mean, that's simple. That's just how Shonen Jump works, basically. Yeah. When an author starts writing for them, they have 3 weeks to get to a certain point of polarity pools, or else they get dropped. So they can't go into a deep, bearing storytelling fiasco. They have to do stuff to make them fall in love with the show. And that's why shows always get serious around the 3rd or 4th episode, because that's around the time that the editors back off of them and allow them to actually tell a story.
So I actually didn't write down, because, again, this was one of those scenarios, unfortunately, where we thought we were going to record, like, the day I thought I was going to record the day after, and ended up recording a week so after.
I know. I still finished that day, and I was like, oh, God, I'm not going to remember anything.
That's one of those problems. Does anyone remember what episode 3 was about in totality?
It was the tennis match.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
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 You know, or basically it kind of just starts off with him, you know, trying, like, using his general excuse for tennis. You know, and he's like, yeah.
One day I'll teach the writer kid about this.
Yes, one day I'll teach him this secret to getting out of this.
The perfect combination. I'm not feeling great, and I'd just be a weight on anybody I got paired with. So I'm just going to go off on my own.
Hit the strategy. Yes. Yeah, that was funny. So
episode 4. Okay, yeah, keep going.
So I guess this episode did do one good thing, where did the pink girl and the other girl, where they kind of had that animosity in episode 2 where they got in each other's face. You know, and they were able to kind of kill that with the tennis match.
Yeah.
You know, I thought that was kind of a nice twist, because after that they did kind of have a more of a neutral, friendly relationship, and it wasn't as, you know, aggressive anymore. So I felt like that was kind of a cool little side result of the match. I thought the match itself was kind of dumb, because I hate whenever they bring in a character and they're like, oh my God, she's a regional tennis player. Like, no. Not random bitch A is not a regional tennis player when you're fighting over the tennis court. No. And then the loner chick is also just as good, if not better. No! Don't do this shit. Just have them all suck for once. I would rather see a game with 4 people who suck in an anime.
Yeah, and then the reason the loner, for instance, the main character, he was good because he knew that the wins were coming, and that was the only reason. And he was really good at doing single things and playing single game because he's a loner.
It's like he wasn't good though, unlike the other 2 girls who were.
No, really but he used his advantage.
He did use his advantage. I did like that. I just, again, like, I don't like that trope of, oh, this just works out perfectly to have a really intense match. No, don't have an intense match. It's a bunch of high school kids not on a tennis team playing tennis. They all suck. That would be more entertaining, watching them fall on their ass and sitting at tie after tie, because half the time they can't even knock the fucking ball back properly and they're hitting people on the side. You know, that would be so much fucking better than these 2 people in the group now are just really good tennis players. No. If I want to watch good tennis, I will watch The Prince of Tennis. I don't need it in my harem comedy animes. And I don't like that, because they use tennis a lot. It must be pretty popular in Japan. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it is.
You know, but either way, it's like it's like I'm so sick of that trope. It's like that's the problem. It hits a lot of tropes this show that are so old from other animes that it just annoys me when I see them. you know, and it's that's another one of them. It's like when things play out too perfectly to get an intense match. When something stupid and goofy fits the theme of the show so much better.
Cough, cough, cough. A good version of this is Death Note, where Light was facing off against Kira, and they were using it as more of an intellectual thing rather than rather than all right, we gotta.
Yeah, then
we're playing
really
tennis for a reason. Yeah. It was more like, I'm going to challenge him to a friendly game of tennis, but if he's Kira, he's not going to want to lose.
But if he's just a competitive Light, which he is, being a regional champion, he's also not going to
want to lose. So I need to see how he plays during the match and how hard he goes. So and then you got more interesting.
It created a psychological aspect.
But if he thinks this, I must think this. But if I think this, and this, think this, and I'll think that. It was just a bunch of that.
And that's what L is for the most part. He's really circular.
That's what made Death Note great, though, was the psychological back and forth, the left and the right. You know, that's what gave it that different field where no other anime can replicate.
Where he comes out, it's like where he comes out in the beginning, and he's like, "Oh, hi Kite," or "Highlight Yagami." Oh, excuse me. Highlight Yagami, I'm L. And he goes,
best scene ever, just stares at him.
And he's staring at him and waiting for a reaction. He's like, I have to keep my face still.
Do not look at him yet. Do not instantly turn. It's like, oh my god. It's like,
and it just slowly turns. Well, if you were L, you probably wouldn't have told me that.
It's like, who? No, I think he says, who's L? I think he says something like that. He makes. I can't be 100% sure. I haven't rewatched it like in a couple of years, but you know, it's like. But regardless, like it creates awkward mental battles, and that's what keeps it so intense. Now, some things work out too perfectly, like the chick who realize that he can control people's actions, being at the police station, asking for his father as he's going there to meet
we're going
his
a bit much.
Father.
We're going a bit much.
I know. Okay, sorry.
All right, Poison, what'd you think about the tennis episode?
Episode 3. Yeah.
I already said what I thought.
Did you?
You did? Okay.
I didn't hear you. Okay.
My apologies.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, episode 4. Here's one of the references that get really annoying. Like, really, really annoying for me. So, Ruddy will know more about this soon, but since I actually know about JoJo. They do JoJo reference with Giorno Giovanni. And that's super annoying, because it's like the zone is the skill that only people who lead filling lives can lose. And it says this is a personal opinion. But I get it. The character likes anime. But when you're doing fucking hard copies of... And it happens 2 other times where they're doing hard copies of other things. It's super fucking annoying. As somebody who likes... This is the main character of the next season of JoJo. That was just announced recently. For those wondering where the timeline is. Like, this is coming up soon. And... JoJo is super recognizable. And some of the... And it feels like whenever they do the references, it's like they want the response from you. I know what that is. I like this so much more now because I recognize that. And it's just kind of like, but you had no reason to put that in there. Why do you imagine this character is Giorno? Why not, like, I don't know, somebody else? But then he's a thug and he's a gangster and he wants to be a thug. And it's just like, I don't... Giorno's not that nice because he's Dio's son and it's...
They're not basing it off of this character like that character. They're doing it as this character.
I know, but that's the point. Is references
just a JoJo reference? I don't know why you're referencing a JoJo character from a JoJo anime that hasn't been released yet.
It's from the manga. It's
been out. I know the manga's been out, but it's just weird because this is an anime. They shouldn't be doing that.
Won't be in that
reference yet. Because people watch. What?
What'd you say, Poison? Poison.
Pontiff will be in that. Pontiff will be in that season. I've read that season.
Of JoJo?
You've read DiGiorno's season of JoJo, but you haven't watched Diamond is Unbreakable.
No, I don't watch Diamond Unbreakable.
Did you read Diamond is Unbreakable?
No.
Why?
Why'd you read that?
It really has like the best character.
I didn't know that was the next season, and then
I
want Diamond
in like the history of anime, just about.
It's just weird.
That is very weird.
I just didn't know the order.
I'm not shit talking you. It's just weird that you picked that out of everything.
Strange. It's like, so you read the whole first.
So you know about Diablo and stuff?
I know about here's the judges I've been through. I've been through Jonathan, the gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
I have not seen Joseph's. I know Joestar's, like the first 5 episodes. I have not seen Diamond and Breakable.
So you saw the first 2 seasons, skipped the second and third Descendant, and then went on to Dio's son. So you watched the original guy, and then Dio's son, skipping his next 2 children.
And then I watched the one where the guy's main ability was a pistol. Like not like
you didn't watch. You read that one, right?
You read that one. I think it's Steel Ball Run. That's completely outside of the JoJo universe.
That is JoJo. No, that's JoJo. It doesn't start as JoJo, but it ends up as JoJo.
I'm pretty sure. Did they ever add that into the JoJo universe?
Oh, totally. The corpse parts are in it. Okay. The corpse parts of Jesus Christ are in it.
Oh, okay.
And that's a big thing.
I know initially it wasn't in the part of
it. I think.
I know initially it was created outside of the JoJo universe.
And he eventually turned it into. It's so weird, but I like it. Anyways, back to the show.
Yeah, it has back to this ability. Just strong encouragement.
Yes.
Episode 4, which
we're on episode 4 now, which is the one with his sister.
Yeah, the sister one where they try to see what the girl's doing.
I wrote down trap foo is best foo, so something obviously happened with the trap waifu there. Full screen.
Yeah. He came and helped with that situation.
Yeah.
Yes. Also, after that, they also had the situation we were talking about before about the popular kid with the text, the mysterious chain text that was going around.
Yeah.
That was the second half of this episode, really more like 3/4 of this episode. But yeah, so that was that whole cool entire thing where everyone's trying to figure out who sent the text, and then he just eventually sits down next to him. He looks at him. He's like, "Hey, I can fix this in 2 seconds." It's like, what? It's like, we don't need to know who did it. I know how to make this shit better. Then him, the popular kid, and the trap end up going to the trip together, which was funny. Which was kind of funny.
Swamped wherever they go because
have all the girls because the popular guy they all had a crush on was going with them. Like, we must go. He's not the outside. He's like, I thought I might have made a friend. I was mistaken. That was good. I actually liked this episode a lot.
Yeah, that was an episode.
The end of this one kind of annoyed me because it leads in the next episode with the pink-haired ninja girl. Esque looking, you know who I'm talking about, the one with the fucking, they make her more humanized at the end when they're like, oh, she's also is really into doing her own clothing and stuff, so she can work on the play and the clothing. But in the beginning, it's just like, why are they putting so much emphasis on this chicken? Why does she look like a ninja? What's up with this?
That's right. Yeah.
It was so weird. I don't know. It was back and forth for a while. Episode 5 is when I went on, like, they did another teacher joke. Obvious. Oh, no, it's because when the teacher...
No, teacher gets mad because he showed up at the end of class.
No, this specifically, if I type this down, because the teacher talks to the girl, the ninja-haired girl, and she goes, well, why aren't you showing up? You're going someplace else or something's going on. What's going on? And then she goes, I don't know, you shouldn't be more worried about me. I can get a boyfriend. You apparently have trouble with that. And she just looks dejected and crushed, and that's when I went on my little rant about how why is this woman apparently not having anybody? It's just, It's another one of those.
It's one of those.
You kind of saw it in the
too
next
perfect.
episode.
Nobody wants to talk to her.
If she's a little bit icy, like everyone gets a little bit icy at times. That's not an issue, especially when she looks like that. Oh my god!
I'll talk about next episode. So this one was the sister.
This is the brother. This one was the brother that was going after. That was like worried about his sister, his older sister, that she wasn't showing up to school and stuff, and was coming home late and stuff, like really late.
Yeah.
Not coming home.
It was an okay episode. Nothing really. I didn't introduce this little sister, which was okay. I don't know. I kind of like how he went around about it. He's like, well, if it wasn't my sister, this would be panties, but now this is just a piece of cloth. Which was... It was a funny joke, I found.
It was a funny, realistic joke. You know,
it was kind of funny not seeing somebody being a siscon.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of nice for once. Even though he was like the character that I would expect, like, okay, here it comes. But it wasn't, so hey, there you go.
Yeah.
Episode 6, I typed in yay harem bowl. I think that was a bit of episode 6. What was episode 6?
6.
We haven't seen this in 2 weeks.
I know. I might just load up and...
I got it. Talk about JoJo.
No, I have no need.
No.
The Pontiff turns into a... I don't know if you read it, Shadow, so I won't actually...
Oh, okay. I know what episode this is. This is the one where kind of went on like their weird date and the other girl saw them after she left the group. And she was like, oh, I see you two are together.
Oh,
yeah. Where do you come that? Besides, you see them in a public place together. They have shown no signs. It's so obvious. Like, no.
Well, some people are different when they're alone. People.
But it's like, regardless, it's like, and she had that whole misunderstanding, and then they eventually brought her over for what they thought was her birthday, and I was like, it's not my birthday. It's like, oh. You know, and then she ends up rejoining the club at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was kind of on this episode. It wasn't really like it was trying to be too serious here, I guess. It wasn't funny, and I didn't really feel like it did much for anything. You know, I don't know. I didn't really like this episode too much.
Yeah. All I know about 7 is there was a JoJo reference early on, and then I didn't screen cap it like I did the others. Or go in and try to find it afterwards, after the fact of watching it. Which was annoying, but hey. No, just...
Oh, no.
I think this was, oh yeah, this was the beginning of the camp episode with 7, I believe.
No, was it?
7's camp episodes.
Yeah, 7 is the camp episode. Okay, yeah, that's right.
Yep. By the way, the trap is named Sakia.
Good for him.
The camp episode was actually pretty good. I liked it because it was a little girl, and he was trying to, and he was finding a way to stop, but at the same time, he was also going, "No, you should come join this side. It's better over here." But
it's the dark side of socializing. Where you socialize with yourself. It's better than talking to people. You're always interested. And they're always stupid.
They showed a good divide where the popular person had no idea how to handle the situation. He had no idea what was going on with it. And he thought just, shoving them together will fix it. And he's like, no, you're only making it way worse. By you doing that is just killing it.
The getting mad at them was the loner's idea.
No. The popular guy's plan, whenever he saw that she was alone or was always off on her own, he would shove her back into the group.
That's right. Yeah.
And all that would mean is that she would get dejected again and get laughed at again closer to her face, and she would get more hurt by that. And that's why he was going. He has no idea how to handle this situation. And then you got the popular people having no idea how much of an asshole they're being, because like, wow, those little girls are so mean, and it's like you're doing that every day, but because it's another person, now it's mean, now it's cruel. When it's not you doing it, now it's something else. Now it's a humanized thing. You're not putting apart the animals that are in your group. No.
They don't see it that way. They don't realize that's what they're doing.
I was really disappointed the loner wasn't just like screaming at them every time.
I was just hoping a couple just a little smirk and saying, freaking hypocrites, you know, under his breath. I was kind of hoping for, you know, to be like, what'd you say? Nothing.
I would have almost liked a Death Note-esque moment where he departs from himself and starts shouting in his head. Would have been nice. Because they did reference Death Note in these episodes which was another annoying thing where he's talking about the little girl and he's like, oh, she's going to make her own perfect world. And it's like, I'm pretty sure that's a Death Note. I've watched this show enough to know it's a Death Note.
Death Note reference?
Become the god of her new world. He's talking about the little girl, like how she's going to become better than everybody, and she's going to become a god of her own world.
Definitely very Death Note-esque with the shading
and
across
it's like,
the face. You can tell that's definitely where it's from. Because that's the exact same thing they did when Kira first announced he's going to become god of this world.
And it's like, why are you imagining her getting a notebook? What's up with this? Why? It's one of those moments again where it's like references because we'll get the fuckers who know this and then they'll get
But you see,
it.
that's more of an easier reference for more people to relate to, because people who don't even watch anime will know that moment from Death Note. It's like, so
I don't know, that one was one of the more subtle. No, it wasn't as subtle, but
no, that was
that
was very straightforward one right there. I mean, the JoJo one I feel like is a little more niche. You know, just kind of like it. That's kind of like at the point.
Well,
where
it was the pose, but the poses are the most memorable thing about JoJo.
Yeah, I know, but it's like, it's just weird because that's it's like, again, this is an anime. You shouldn't be making references about a manga because most people might not have read the manga, especially with the anime's coming. So hey, in a year that'll be a good reference joke.
Yeah.
In a year it'll be good, but until then, it just kind of feels misplaced. The Death Note one, like, that's kind of just like more of a quirky part of his quirkiness, and just how kind of extreme he gets. So I didn't mind that.
Anybody else have anything to say about the camp episode?
No.
It was a good episode. I just loved the reaction when he was telling his idea, and it was like, no, we'll never do that. Are you insane?
It's like, you do this all the time. What are you talking about?
Yeah, he was just telling them pretty much to beat themselves, and they got so into it. It's like, yep, nope. Everyone but the guy, pretty much. He was like the one exception.
Yeah.
She was kind of a little too...
No, he was just kind of like dead. He didn't want to do it, so he was just kind of blank facing it.
Yeah, like, I know, but I'm just saying, like, overall, like, he was kind of like the super too good guy, I felt like. Like...
Give me a second, connection kind of out, need to switch.
Like, I just felt like they made him too goody-goody. Overall, I would have liked to have seen a couple of moments where he legit just messes up, where he does something wrong. But he never had that moment.
Second season.
And that kind of was like, I thought that just kind of felt weird. It kind of dehumanized him kind of for me.
One of the things I really liked about that scene was at the end of it, the teacher came to him and was like, you didn't fix the problem, but there's no longer a problem, so I guess this is a fine solution.
By the way, I feel insulted.
Then she turned around. Then she turned around and she's like, you need to stop making things better by making things worse for yourself. Just because you fix something doesn't mean hurting yourself is good. Like, that's the actual first piece of good advice you've said this whole series.
It's weird, and this is why I say the first season is really weird in this. It's because the love interest is more so goes like teacher, pink-haired girl, ice chick, because the teacher is the only one who's actually nice to him ever. Really.
Yeah.
Like, the pink-haired girl is also kind of nice to him, but, like, not directly. But the teacher actually says some nice things to him every now and again. And that's one of the weird kind of off moments. It's somewhat annoying, but then at the end we get the thing that's everything's connected and they have a neat scene. It's like, oh no, I didn't even notice the car. And then in his head he's like, I knew it immediately and I fucking died.
Yeah.
He's like, I curled up. That was nice. That was a nice thing that they did to an annoying contrivance of they all were involved in the same car crash.
Yeah.
And like even the sister knew. And it's like,
right. That was the annoying part. Mentors are coming over to deliver these, and she's like, oh, I ate them all. Haha, but really? Really? You don't have any questions about this weird three-way relationship? Like, especially when he's out with a woman who literally hit him with a car.
She was only in the passenger seat.
it's it's still like it's still the thing that she's probably thinking that they're gonna go on about. They're gonna go on about it in the second season of like, well, she feels like because she was doing something and she needed to be driven someplace when she could have just done something else. That's the whole reason that he got hit, and he got like maybe the pink-haired chick might not feel so sympathetic for him and care like, oh, I was the cause for this. So it's more along the lines of the Ice Queen actually does, and that's why she's so cold, distant, because she's trying to be like, I'm staying away from you because I hurt you so bad before. You know, that was kind of the thing.
I know. Mm-hmm.
That was on. I don't like the whole thing anyways. The whole three-way connection of that accident was...
Everyone involved, and now we're all stronger because of it, and we're all closer than ever now since we got over it. I just didn't like that whole premise.
Well, I mean, they didn't get over it. The guy and the girl and the Ice Queen didn't get over in the beginning. The first season,
no, but like but more on, like he became more accepting of it. Like he didn't really hold it too much against her because he was like, oh yeah, no, she was in the passenger. She didn't actually drive into me. She was just happened to be in that.
Still
car.
doesn't like the car though.
No,
still hates the fucking car.
Yeah, I can't blame him for hating the fucking car.
No, not in the least.
But it's just like, again, it's just like, okay, too many people in the same group, involved in the same situation, purely through coincidence. Just,
but I am your father.
I didn't like that. You see, I would have liked if the kid with 8th grade syndrome, like when they all met that, if he showed up behind him, I am your father, just randomly. That would have been great.
Yeah, because
he breaks the moment. He would have broken the whole seriousness of the whole stupid moment they created, and it would have broken it, and got a cheap laugh out of you.
Yeah,
you know. And then they could have just kind of like, maybe even just somewhat,
just that down. In combination with the other thing that they did, where he was like, "No, I didn't like the car at all. I didn't notice. I didn't even remember." It's like that would have actually kind of made the scene more palpable, rather than just the insane contrivance and one small joke. So 2 small jokes might have. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I feel like that would have like made the situation a lot better. Mm-hmm. You know, like. Yeah. I mean, because you know what, man? Like, truthfully, she hit him with a goddamn car. There's no reason he doesn't walk up to his teacher and says, why the hell are you putting me in a crew with the woman who hit me with a car my first day of school?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 1 second.
Oh. We're getting to that moment.
Yep.
Shut up. Why are you posting pulling her up? So you've seen his Requiem stand, right? JoJo spoilers, by the way. How stupid his Requiem stand gets, where his Requiem stand makes everyone in a distance go to sleep and switches their fucking souls.
Yeah, and he switches his soul with the turtle.
And he becomes crippled and gets put into a turtle, and it's like, come on, so weird.
I apologize. I am now a turtle.
This is so fucking weird. Especially because he's so cool in Stardust Crusaders. It's like one of my favorite characters.
From the first few episodes I've seen, I agree with you.
Okay, I'm back.
And the most populous would agree with you.
He is a beautiful character in building episode. Like, once they go to Egypt, it's fucking beautiful episode. I love it, but that's like way later. Okay, Ruddin's back.
Yes.
So now we're getting to the part of the show that really fucking annoys me because it always happens in these.
Also, by the way, that was more for people who don't know JoJo poses. That's like the quintessential JoJo pose.
That's not
the
quintessential. No, I think it's more Jotaro or like Jonathan putting the hand in front of his face. You know what I mean? Yeah. Joseph putting this hand in front of his face.
But that pose.
Well, that's just like one of the ridiculous ones.
Exactly.
They have a lot of ridiculous ones though.
But it's so cool though.
If you really like the look of JoJo poses, just go type in JoJo poses.
I don't know.
And you'll see hundreds of them.
99% of those people, anime characters, do those poses. They look stupid.
Yeah, but JoJo doesn't.
They just make it work. JoJo makes it work.
Plus, you have the stands behind them, and the stands are posing. And then you have the whole arc with the Pillar Men, where it's like, yo, so me and my bros made a pose wall. And then some imposters came up and started trying to pose harder. So we had to come out and show them what for.
Yep.
It's fucking ridiculous. So we're getting to the part of the show that does the same kind of tropes and falls into another trope that's really annoying, where the fucking fireworks festival happens.
Oh yeah.
And he's still like, no, she doesn't like me. Who could ever like? It's like, come on. It's like, do you not see the situation you're in?
The super denseness.
Like, I can get up to that point, him going, well, I was turned down before, so once bitten, twice shy, you know. Totally get it. But at the fireworks festival, when, like, all the hints are being dropped by everyone except for you, and you're just blind to it. Come on! Something. It's one of those moments where the protagonist hurts themselves more by being the protagonist or trying to be like this show character that pisses me off, because like anybody in that situation, almost anybody would go or like bring up a question or like deepen the relationship a little, but he just like pulls away harder from that, and it's just, come on.
It's a trope in anime where writers think it's funny having a stupidly dense character. You know, and then they're scared, like, if I jump them into a relationship, it's going to be hard to, like, write around it. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to put me into a dead end because they're going to be in a stable relationship. So he can't have, like, you can't have these...
He can't have a second season of three-way and stuff.
With the other girl, yeah. So it ruins the whole harem aspect.
Deleting that.
You know? And, like, that ends up... It ends up being an issue, and you're like, why is this so stupidly dense? This makes zero sense.
The only one I like it in is To Love Ru, because that one actually says, oh yeah, let's just have a harem. You date every one of us. All 30 of us. I'm not even joking.
I understand. I haven't watched it, and I don't want to. I think that's a horrible. I
understand where you're coming from, but that sounds like a plot of a hentai.
It's literally worse. In my opinion, at least. It's a lot worse, in my opinion. Like, God.
Alright.
God, does
anybody have anything
so
to say
bad.
about that whole festival episode where he, like, 1,000 hints were getting piled on him, and he's just like, nope, closing my eyes, looking the other way.
Yeah.
What's it called? The, God damn it, give me a second. The, can you hear that?
Yeah, I bet. It doesn't matter.
Okay, I'll just go away. Okay. But the episode with the scene with the girls was kind of foreshadowing / kind of like, oh, you're here with him. Yeah, but overall, it was an okay episode.
It was the trope that. It's always the tropes that get me. It's always when you follow these things that piss me off. It's always when you follow too much on
doing
reference,
what everyone else, just conceding what everybody else does. Yeah.
Yeah, like not rolling with your own punches. Because when this show, again, it's a lot like, what was the show we watched recently? That, the one that was heavy on reference. 30 Years, Health and Education for 30-Year-Olds. When it was doing its own thing, it was really good. But it kept falling back on reference on these stupid gags that were entertaining, but I'm never going to watch the show again because it's all just reference humor, so why would I watch that when I can watch something else?
Whenever they stopped doing what made them really themselves and started doing what everyone else did to be funny is when the show loses premise.
Because it has a really good thing with the loner character. To my knowledge, not a whole lot of comedy high school shows do this. So when it's doing it, it's great. When it's not, you're falling off and you're falling into the tropes because that's a scene out of any of those other animes, you know, like
where the main
character's like, oh, she can't love me. I'm just here as a friend. I'm doing something for somebody else. This is not me. And she comes up and she's like dressed up and she looks fucking gorgeous. And he's like, wow, you look great. I'm kind of disappointed you don't like me. It's like, come on.
It's just so dumb. Yeah, but I gotta admit though. Made me realize something when I saw this episode. I like Kid Naruto more now. Because he didn't have that trope. Minus to believe it. He didn't have that trope. Yeah, minus that. I like Kid Naruto a lot better because of this.
Because Sakura never actually liked him?
Well, no, because never actually did, the thing was, it's like, she tried to trick him.
No, she didn't like him. She didn't like him that way. But it was more like I don't remember, but I just like how Naruto realized who he liked, and he was going for it. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't back up. He wanted Sakura. He went for her. Eventually,
but the main girl,
he really fell
The
in
one
love
that
with.
won out.
Yeah, main girl. Eventually, yes, the one who always had things for him. He eventually grew to love. But
He
as
never
a kid,
recognized.
he never he never noticed her feelings because he was too busy trying to get Sakura because he wanted Sakura the whole show. You know, like, and I can respect that because they didn't fall into that trope to where he was just dense around Hinata. He just didn't notice because he was too obsessed with the woman he wanted to be with. You know, and I like how it went. I think about like how it went against that trope, and I thought that was just really kind of cool. You know, and I just like that original show a lot better because of it now. And I think back on it. But fuck 200 episodes of filler. And then fuck Shippuden for filler. Because how the fuck do you have 20 minutes of filler in a 23-minute episode?
I'll tell you how. Sakura, how did you break down that wall that I just saw you break down? Well, you see, flashback, punching wall crumbles. 2 minutes of seeing the wall crumble. Cut back. Oh yeah, you punched the wall. It's just like, why?
I know.
What? Like.
Anyways, okay. Anyways, done with that episode.
So we're going on to the.
So now we're on the cultural festival. I don't know, Boyd. You got anything about that episode?
No, I already said everything I said.
Cultural festival, which is the biggest arc in the show, pretty much. 3 episodes.
It's the 3 episode, yeah. I mean,
yeah, it's fun a lot.
Okay.
No, it's 4 actually.
No, it's the first. Oh no, because the other one's the sports festival. This one's the cultural.
Yeah. No. This one, it starts at, what is it?
It starts at 10.
It starts at 10.
It starts at 10,
11,
and
12, and then the 13th is the sports one. That's the sports
3 episodes.
Oh yeah, that's mine. Yeah. I forgot that's a different festival. Yeah.
Okay, so this festival starts out really good and then gets really weird. Then gets really weird at the end. I like the first 2 episodes a lot because he's sticking up for the ice chick a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually doing stuff. He's making himself seem like an asshole, but he's doing it in a way that everyone hates him, so that they move together and work on their own. Annoying thing, though, is when he's the historian and everyone is pushing their work onto him, he's like, he's just lazy. He doesn't want to do more work, and he's got more papers than anybody else. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? He's doing more work than any of you right now, it looks like. And you're all bitching at him for being lazy.
Just because serious? Because he mentions that you guys are throwing your work. All he realized you were doing because y'all made that face. Like, yeah, we're busted. Yeah. You know, and then you get mad. Talk about being a fucking hypocritical piece of shit. You know?
Mm-hmm.
God.
It's so annoying. And that's one of those things that it does really well about high school because kids don't care. They just don't. So they're going to do that. And it's fucking annoying. Hell, even adults do that. So and again, it did it well, but it did it well and it did in one of those ways that one of the reasons that I kind of have somewhat negative opinions toward the show is because it brought up all those emotions from back in high school and shit. Like, me and Ron had talked about this for like 10, 20 minutes after the first thing failed. But we went on about how, this show does one thing really well. And because it does it so well, it kind of brings back old negative emotions. It might alleviate them a bit because you get like a bit of an outlet. So I don't know though. Like all it did was really though is piss me off at the end because of all those emotions being brought back up and all those thought processes being brought back up. So I don't know.
Yeah, but it's kind of you could kind of give it some marks for that because it was able.
And I'm giving it, and it gets a much better grade at the end because of that because it was able to do that. It was so good in some areas, and that's why. When it does such bad things like the contrivance of all 3 of them or in the same accident, I'm going to give that endless amounts of shit. I'm going to give the tropes they fall into endless amounts of shit, but I'm going to give them endless credit for when they do really good stuff, like how good the high school situation is actually depicted here. Like, it's done really, really well. But
I don't blame it personally. I don't blame it for that contrived situation, purely because that's just an anime thing.
I always try for things to be better.
You can think about that.
Falling into
aliens coming from the Earth. Oh wait, no, it's Vegeta's brother.
Look.
No, okay, Vegeta's brother fucks like a 2-year-old looking thing. That's like that kind of looks like Zenosama.
It kind of does.
Is Kaba fucking a god?
Hey, you don't know. It's not Kaba.
It's like a 2-year-old. Like, here's the creepy thing about Kaba. Kaba's like 9 years old, right? It looks like, or 10, or like 13.
I'm pretty
Not
sure.
Kaba. It's Vegeta's table. Tarble.
Yeah,
Tarble is
his
like
brother.
fucking like a 13. Hold on.
Oh no.
Tarble
Or
and
the
his
fact
wife.
that the only one that survived the massive destruction of the whole entire planet, one of them was Goku. The other one was Goku's brother.
There was
Or
Nappa.
the fact that
Don't
even
forget
though
about
this is
Nappa.
a multi-universe tournament between two universes, Kaba uses the same techniques as Vegeta.
Listen, we're doing
no,
GT next,
look,
okay?
look,
We're gonna
okay.
get into
So,
this.
Poison. That goes more into.
Here's the
no, they
creepy thing
explain
about
that.
Tarble.
Look,
This is
they
so fucking
explain
creepy.
that.
That fucking wife
They
is
explain
smaller than Trunks. It's so
Yes.
fucking
Well,
creepy.
He is
Look,
Vegeta.
they explain that Poison in Super. They
It's
say
so
basically if the
creepy.
numbers of the universe
It's still
equal
contrived, though.
His dick is like
The-
half the size of that child.
no,
It's disgusting.
basically, like the only thing they don't flip is the strength of the Saiyans. They flip the
That could have
mentality.
eaten the penis. You don't know. You don't know how
I
that
don't
thing
know.
reproduces.
I don't know. That thing's fluffy, man.
It's so creepy.
But
Like, not
He
only
looks
is he
like a
too
more
young to be
adorable
married and
Xeno
shit,
son.
and not only is he looks like so weird, but he's like fucking that thing, and it's like, yeah, that bland, faceless, smiley thing. It's like,
Oh, look at that. Look at
Vegeta's
that
just looking at that like, oh man, I got off good. Bald up.
God.
Jesus.
God, how our race has fallen.
but no, like
The offspring that's gonna produce.
God, that thing's gonna be a prince of Saiyans. Oh, does my title feel so diminished now?
Oh, it's so
but-
creepy. It's so weird.
But anyway,
Anyways,
back
where
to the
were we?
point Poison was bringing up.
I was bringing the fact that I don't blame it for that contrived situation. I really
Mhm.
just blame the culture.
See, again, I don't like just conforming to just because it's okay. Just because it's okay in anime doesn't mean it's good. Okay,
Yeah.
so that doesn't mean I'm not gonna hit it because it does something that's bad. Just because other anime do the same thing, that's bad.
Good
Bad
point. Like,
is
just because
bad.
Bandit King Jin at the end does a typical anime ending, even though the whole show's not like a typical anime ending, why are you doing it at the end of this episode, at the end of
And
the
not
show,
the end of every
and
other
ruining the
episode.
feel of the show at the last second? Why would you
Yeah.
do this?
Just because it's a trope and every anime does it doesn't mean it's good. And I'm not gonna excuse something that's bad
And
just
here's the thing
because
about
other things do it.
here's how I feel about that. It's a trope. I hate the trope. I'm not going to hate the anime because I do the trope.
I'm gonna point against the anime because they decide to go with a bad, and that makes the anime a little more bad because they're doing bad things that you don't like. You throw
Well,
enough tropes I don't like, no matter how good the anime is. If there's enough tropes I don't like in it, I cannot like the anime. I can't overlook every bad trope because other anime do it.
I can see where Poison's coming in, and I'm on Rudded's side, so like I can. Both these are fine. It's just, it's your view of looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a bit the extreme side of strict, so I always go off on this stuff, like how y'all were pissed at me for like super not liking Konosuba for that reason. Rudd's much less so, but even him's getting triggered. I can see how Poison likes it. Here, it is one of those things.
We all
That
hate
everyone's-
the trope. Just
Yeah, I know. And you're just saying you ain't gonna hold the trope against the
Yeah.
anime, or I'm like the anime's trope, so I'm gonna hold it against it because they made the conscious decision to include this trope. They included this thing that's done everywhere, that's mildly liked, that's done everywhere, and it's old and is washed up, and they could easily do something slightly different and make it different because of it,
Mhm.
and which would make it better, in my opinion. I can't say for everyone, but in my opinion. They chose not to go that direction, and I can hold that against them because they chose to go the generic way everybody else went, and did the same thing everybody else doing. I like innovation.
Yeah. Okay,
It's
so
like-
let's go back to the festival because we went on a huge.
Anyway, back to festival.
Yeah. So I said before earlier, the first two parts I really liked because it was the setup, the research. She's overworking herself. She, the Ice Queen, got the whole situation where she was taking all the load from the slack off head.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And was completely throwing organization and everything out the window and was like sending half the group out to do nothing. It felt like almost because the room was pretty much empty most of the time. It was just
Yes.
a few people who were doing almost all the work.
Yeah.
And it was nice. And again, it's one of those high school things. We already kind of talked about this a bit, but it was those first two episodes were really good. It's the third on the festival finale that kind of throws me off, and I'll get into that when we get there. So, what did you two think about the first two episodes of the festival?
I agree. You know, it was kind of refreshing when the other kid joined up and he was trying to make positive light of all of it. And then, you know, that's when the MC, of course, did the thing where he's like, I'm just so sick of everyone else throwing all their work. And he's like, I'll take some of your work. He's like, that's not the point. You know? And in acting, you know, he was like, shut up, don't help me, and let me finish talking. I like how he did that. And he kind of, was the one point he put that jock in his place, you know, and knocked him down a peg. You know, then he went on to rip everybody else besides the ice queen because they weren't, even though they were there working, they weren't working hard because they were just dumping their work off on on other people rather than doing it themselves. And I thought that was really kind of refreshing that he called them all out for it, because you seen multiple times during the show where he was about to call people out and he backed down. So it was nice to kind of see him gain a little bit more self-confidence during the show. And I thought that was really cool how they showed it there.
All right. It's the third episode.
Third episode of it.
Where some things are done really well and some things kind of fall apart. And
I don't know what you're talking about.
And get weird. Okay, so should we go for the hardest first or the softest first? I kind of feel
let's
hard.
End it on a good note by starting bad, going.
Okay, so the hardest. Did anybody else feel like the ending was a bit forced? Just a wee bit. Where he didn't exactly need to go ham on her, because he already did that, and he didn't need to drive it home even harder.
Well, that's just kind of...
He didn't need to vilify himself, is what I'm saying.
Well, that's what he always does. That was his premise ever since, like...
Yeah, but there was no call for it. She was already going to go down at that point. There was no reason for him stepping up and doing it.
Yeah,
it was more of him
just as how he
didn't want... He could have done it by saying... No, it's so fine. We need you. But he couldn't bring himself to say that.
It would have been fine if he was just I think it would have been fine if he was just an asshole, but he was already being an asshole to her, so I think it would have been fine if he just left and let them do it at that point. I didn't feel like he needed to say anything.
I think I
was almost, mainly it's because my expectation was so high for that scene, I was expecting like something really serious to happen and her just to like trip off the edge of the balcony. I was expecting like a semi-suicide almost.
Dark left turn, huh?
I was about to say that would have been.
Damn,
that would have been fucking like 8 or 9 worthy for this first season.
Would have been shocking because that would have completely broken the premise of the show.
Yeah, that would have kind of derailed things.
That would have really screwed the show.
That would have taken us.
Just the whole end. It just didn't feel like.
I understand.
What was supposed to happen when they did that? It was just weird and...
I disagree with you, man. I felt like that's exactly... You got exactly what you were expecting. You knew he was going to walk up there. You knew she was going to be all depressed because she knows she didn't do anything. And, you know, that's why she's not there. You know, and she wants somebody to tell her it's okay.
Well, he did that when he first went up there. I'm not talking about like when he first went up there and first talked to her. I'm talking about after everyone else was already there.
And then everyone else went up there,
where it was completely unnecessary.
Because she was still indecisive when he said it. And then he kind of got his switch flipped. He was like, okay, I tried being nice. Now it's time to be me. You know, and when everyone else came up, he couldn't turn that switch off. And he continued to be himself, you know, and heal people the way he does by hurting himself. That's why even like the nice guy grabbed him, threw him against the wall, and he's like, why do you do this to yourself? Why? You know? And then he just kind of smirked at him, you know? He's like, you know, that's exactly, it gave you exactly what you were expecting. Maybe not what you wanted, but it gave you what you were expecting, especially not what you wanted, mister. I tripped off the fucking balcony. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Jesus, man. But it gave
Apparently someone hasn't watched School Days and knows how that goes.
He would have loved the end of that show.
Yeah. Oh, I love the end of that show.
Well, everyone loves the end of that show because nobody liked the MC of that show.
Yeah.
Or they made you hate a person, and then they did a Lelouch. They embodied all your hate and then stabbed it.
Metaphorically and physically.
Yes, but anyways, yeah. So I disagree with you. I liked that part. I didn't like.
Yeah, I like the ending.
I didn't mind this episode too much. The whole like her how to overcome her sister by just saying yeah I'll call her and then bossing her around. Wow, it's like I did. It felt like it happened too quick. I felt like that should have been longer. It took her too quick to turn. Like, let me call my sister. And then when her sister was about to take control, she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna tell you off, sis, now." And she's like, "That, you know." It's like, it didn't feel natural to me, and I didn't like that part of it, you know. But I guess they were towards the end, so they had to start rushing shit. But I felt like that they should have spent more time with that overcome because they've been this whole build up about how she feels like her sister's superior to her, you know, for her to overcome it just like that, you know what I mean, so quickly. I didn't like that. That felt too quick. And that's the part I didn't like about that episode.
All right, Poison?
Yeah.
You have anything to say about that episode? Or?
You can't not have your own opinion about almost any of these episodes.
Well, no, it's like, so here's the two sides.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are two sides on most of these episodes, and when you're not, I say something. But
Well,
I'm really just like...
give your opinion of one of our sides, and that's fine. Just, even if you're like repeating Chad, I've done it to Chad, I've repeated his point and just said my different opinion of how I came to that point. That's fine if you do that. It's better than saying, oh, I agree.
Well, the only thing I didn't like about this episode was the, what's it called? That there's less screen time of the characters we all liked. Like, the only mention of the big guy was a phone call.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a brief phone call.
Yeah, and like we
Very
didn't
true.
see the glasses girl much. The oh, you look like a donut to me.
You're turning this into a fucking hentai. You need to stop turning this play into a hentai.
Hey, look, you don't want to know what I do, baby. Glaze me up.
Yeah, no, so that was the only negative I had about this. I think everything flowed well.
Okay.
And that's
So you kind of disagree with the both of us. That's fine.
Yeah. Well, I
You
kind of
seem
agree
to
more
love.
with you because
A little more with me.
I don't think it needed to end with.
Yeah,
So,
no.
No, I'm not saying that's
No.
how it should have ended. I'm
He
saying
just-
that is
he
an
just
option
saying
that would have been more
something he
interesting.
thought would have been a nice twist there. He just didn't like how it
Rather
was
than
like,
him just
he
going
was
off again.
unnecessarily going off. Everyone was already there comforting her and would have eventually dragged her back. But he felt like she needed to be back there faster, so he just became a dick to speed up the process. He was saying that's unnecessary. That was Shadow's whole point. You know, I mean, I just, again, he just felt like it might have taken too long. I feel like he was already in that, okay, fuck you, I'm going to roast you mode now. And no matter who showed up, that wasn't going to stop. You know, I believe he had his mind set on what he was going to say. He was just putting together the words when everyone was comforting her. So, you know,
One thing that shows up at the end of the episode that I felt like they also missed out a tiny little bit on was him getting back, and he gets back right as they start, right like a couple seconds into the final song, and a lot of these shows do it. However, because of what's happened recently, I think it would have been a nice touch if he had like a single tear when he was like, you didn't see his eyes or anything, and he wasn't like crying super hard, but he like had a single tiny little tear.
like maybe you zoom in on the
like
bottom
a
half
screen,
of his
because
face,
you know that
and
was
you see
super
one
emotional.
tear
What they were
going down
trying
his
to do.
cheek.
It's like
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
they were trying to do like super emotional. I feel like they missed it just a little bit.
Like, that
Because
would
if
have
they did that, it would have driven a little bit extra home.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing right now, or where I am, or where I'm supposed to be, and this is like so nice, and it's like the epitome of what I want's there, but here I am in the back, like as far back as could possibly be. That would be kind of nice, but
it would have been a good like
really
added touch for a last scene, like the very end. It just flashes his face with a single tear on it or something. That would have been cool, you know. But I could understand them
I guess they were kind of playing for season 2 because it leads more well into season 2.
Yeah.
One of
the
teacher has like the nicest, says, this is where I say the teacher's the nicest character to him. is because she says the nicest thing ever to him that anybody's literally ever said to him in the entire show. It feels like at this one moment where she's like, you know, every time you hurt yourself, there's people whose hearts hurt more. And she says that to him, and he's just like, he doesn't really know how to respond to it. Just kind of sitting there like, eh. She's actually like one of the nicer characters to him, even though she's physically abusive in moments. So it's like, It feels weird how the love interests are being pointed towards these people where they're not nice. Like, the pink-haired chick's nice to him towards the half-end part onwards. But the other girl just isn't, and it feels weird. So
yeah, it's weird because I've seen season 2. The teachers expanded upon it in season 2, and he has a scene with what's it called? The glasses chick we all like. There.
I mean, at the issue, what Shadow's talking about with her though is like it's 13 episode season. She's a serious love interest. They should have built their. They should have done something.
Like 30 some their health and education for 30-year-olds.
At 13 episode.
Well. And
I mean,
and then like, when you're 12 episodes in and you're not really showing any strong connection, and he's pushed away the one chance for it, which he had a lot of emotion going with the pink-haired girl during around after they came back, and then the festival, like the fireworks festival was kind of just like,
it's just kind of weird.
And even her bringing him a cake
too slow
at the end, and him just like smiling and eating it, even though he's bitching about it in his head, and he's like, oh well, I guess this cake's not bad, you know. Like, they it just feels weird when they're doing it.
Yeah. I might fix this season 2, but it's something that shouldn't have taken so long. It shouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah,
I think this,
I get what you're saying.
That's kind of the thing. It's
I almost feel like this show would have been a 9 if they wrapped the 2 seasons into one. I like
but this
like
was
maybe a couple more episodes added.
It's not like recent years where a lot of shows getting 24 episode seasons. It became a sign of 12 to 13 episodes. 13 episodes is a rare.
Well, 13's an extra episode. That's not. It doesn't even count towards the base 12. It's literally listed online as an extra episode.
Yeah, no, it's an OVA.
So, yeah, it's pretty much an OVA.
Really?
Yeah, it's not an OVA. There is actually another OVA.
Yeah, no, it's.
So 13's not an OVA. There is another OVA, but it's declared an extra episode, not declared like part of base running 12 for some weird reason.
Yeah, no, it's.
Basically, when you look up how many episodes the show is, like Wikipedia, it says it's 12 and then 1 extra. And it has the extra listed at 13, but it's 12 and 1 extra. And then there's a separate OVA. Okay. I didn't watch the OVA.
Neither did
but yeah.
The fucking end of this is the last thing I'm going to go on. It's where I got really worried that they weren't gonna show like, oh, he likes her or she likes him at the end, and they were just gonna catfish you to the next season. It's where I started to get really worried because I was like, there's 1 episode left. This is the most emotional it's probably gonna get. This is gonna be a downturn after this, isn't it? I'm gonna get catfished, aren't I? And then the next episode starts up, sports festival. I'm like, I got fucking catfished. God damn.
Don't say catfished.
That's what it is, though.
No, it's not. You were completely wrong. Catfish is shit.
But it's like catfish is when you pretend like there's going to be something. There's a woman or a guy who's pretending they create a fake life and identity. They tell you to go someplace, and they bring you there, and you're there, and they're not there. Is what it's supposed. That's what catfishing is in real life, and that's what it's doing in the show. It's bringing you there with the promise of something, and it's not there. How is that not the term?
It's the term you're looking for is misdirection.
Yeah.
Catfish is more the I'm gonna catch a pedophile.
No, I've heard that. I've heard catfish used more in like women creating fake relationships to fuck with guys, or guys creating fake relationships to fuck with girls.
And basically you just send them somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And you just don't show up. But it's not the same situation. It's created. It's misleading. You know, but I wouldn't say it's catfishing you because it's going to get there, and you know it's going to get there. It's just not getting there at the pace you want.
No, I've seen a couple of these shows that just never ended.
It's what's it called?
This one goes into the second season now, so you have to give it the benefit of the doubt, and you can't really quite say you get catfished.
Well, here's the problem.
The second season, you get catfished.
Second season, they kind of add another girl.
Yeah.
And they still don't build on the Ice Girl because I really hope they don't. I like her.
Mm-hmm.
I like the new character way more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm worried now.
Oh,
All right. So let's talk about the sports episode. You two go first.
Okay.
I wish we had this game in our country. I would have loved playing this.
Don't touch the pole, but protect your
No,
headband.
push down the pole, but force people to go out of your way. It's a physical sport. I would love that in gym class.
Okay, that's because that's not something they even do in Japan. That's an extremity that they use in
I've
an
seen
anime.
some people. I've seen a game of it, an actual live game of it.
So that's more taken as an extremity. But anyways, I mean, the episode wasn't bad. You know, I mean, they brought back our favorite characters first off.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, God. Right? I mean, in all
Why
honesty.
are we in Western style armor? Because I like it.
Oh yeah, that was again them making differences.
Because
So it
it's
wasn't
better.
too bad. I like how they did
Because
that.
that's a Face Day reference.
That was a face day reference.
Yeah.
So
Ready,
that's
got
an
it?
extra
I know.
5 points from me. Yes.
Yeah, that was
You know, I
me.
mean,
Apologies, Mike.
but anyways, so you know, I give him 5 points for that. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, I thought the whole competition thing was kind of dumb, though. Like that whole concept. Like, don't never notice me if I switch my headband. And he's like, I'm always looking after you. I know you're up for something. Like, okay, Sir Captain Jack.
I like
Why
the
are you sending 2 other people to go grab him when you could just rip his headband off immediately? Like, I don't know the whole.
I like the
whole,
double distraction.
distraction felt weird. That was funny how he
Nice.
used him as a distraction, but he just came running up afterwards like, ah! I still don't know how the hell he didn't lose his headband in the middle of that fiasco.
Well, because everyone was creeped out by him and walked away. They stopped paying attention to him.
Yeah. So
They
that
all
was
focused
funny.
on the one guy who was right by them, I think. I
Yeah.
think that was the plan.
They kind of were just showing like, hey, look, here I'm no longer. I just didn't like how to use the whole thing. Like, hey, look, I'm no longer a loner. And it's like, oh, so you're trying to show he's no longer the thing a lot of us were relating to. Thank you, show.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking the most relatable aspect of your character and just kind of throwing it in the dumpster fire. You know, throwing it in the dumpster and lighting it off. Thank you very much. So I didn't like that because of that. You know, because again, I did like the loner aspect of the character, and that does diminish as the show go on, harder and harder and harder. You know?
Well, that's kind of like the point of the thing.
I know. So it just took away from the character to me. You know,
I would
because
say they had the best trap joke in the whole entire series in this episode. They're just fighting. She's like, "Thank you guys," and then they all blush and fall down.
Faint. Oh my god, he made them all faint due to cuteness. Wow, even Shadow laughed at that one.
Yeah.
That's a rare one. Oh, anyways.
Well, I actually like that trap character. So they have the third reference, which is too much for me.
Why do you like this trap character? I need to know. Why do you like this one specifically?
Well, you know, I usually like these characters because I think they're funny. Just in the base standpoint. And I also like when you get super creeped out by trap characters. I think that's funny too.
No, it's a lie.
So,
They say that
and
about
he's
people.
not really
Lonely
trapped.
eyes
The
and
reason I
no-
like him is because he's not like the guy from Fate Stay, whatever, the pink-haired, cat-toothed, tiny skirt person, you know?
Guy
That's
who
actually a
likes
guy
something.
that's like a super fucking hard, like, trap. He's not really a trap. Like, at first glance, it's like, oh, you might be a girl or a guy, I don't know. And then it's like, oh, I'm actually a boy. And it's like, oh, you're still way too fucking cute. Why the fuck are you so cute? I don't know, it's just kind of funny.
Okay.
Well, like, the best joke of that is Haku in Ninja Bridge of, I'm not gay, I like girls, 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 I'm gay, I like boys, fuck, shit! And then he's like, and then fucking Sasuke comes in and he's like, Naruto, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm not doing anything, I'm not into a boy. He's like, that was a really hot girl. Just like, God.
Yes, yes, it was.
The abridged of an abridged show.
Hey, it's perfect.
Yeah,
That was the way it should
but
be. So they do.
what's it called?
Oh, I mean that was purple-eyed style right there. Okay, let's not get into that though. That could be a whole nother
That wasn't
thing. Talking
purple-eyed.
about. No, I said it was purple-eyed style. That was a little Karibo. But
Yeah.
I said it was very purple-eyed style.
You mean this guy?
Like
Shadow?
that style was very
Yeah,
purple-eyed.
that person.
In Ninja Bridge. That's what I would say. It had that.
Best scene ever.
It had that wackiness that you see in Purple Eyes' work.
You're not
Exactly.
a kid. Stop. You'll
Man,
get hurt.
doesn't.
I'm fine. Just fine. It's
Anyway.
fine. Looks like I've ever come from my balance.
I'm still deciding whether or not I want to recommend that one. Anyways, we have the third reference, which kind of kills it for me a little on the references where I was actually turned negative, where they started doing G Gundam Master Asia shit, where it had
Just because you're a super hard Gundam fan and you don't like people.
well, G Gundam fan. Well, it's just like
Being a fan and you don't like them showing appreciation for your fandom.
How dare you? How dare you like
no,
what
it's
I...
just weird. Because I'm
It's a
sitting there and I'm sitting there and I'm like,
burning
fucking,
red.
what are you
burning
recommending Gundam for? Like, I love G Gundam. It's stupid and shitty, but I love it. Like, stop it.
You
annoying.
don't like people like taking from it and making fun of it.
Just,
You know?
they're not making fun of it though because it's stupid. When the whole Master Asia thing in the end is dumb. Like, he becomes this giant mecha mutant boss, and Domon has to fist him to death. It's just kind of weird, but like.
No. But that's the point. It was like a really old school where people who get it, and it's like you're supposed to look at it like that was so stupid.
Yeah, but I knew that the first time I saw it. I don't need somebody else to tell me.
It's stupid, bro. It was a 2-point joke. No, that's a would be Master Asia. You know, dying with the East burning red.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. Like, but that gets like, can you not reference old stuff?
That's
That's
I
what
mean,
happens
no,
with
if you start constantly, because for me, reference humor is almost a one-to-one relation of like, if we reference this and they get it, they'll like it, and then they'll relate to us more because we know a thing that they know and they like, and we like the thing that they like, so that means that there's more of a connection. That's where it feels like to me too much.
You're really overthinking jokes. A reference joke is just purely meant to be a cheap
I've seen far too
laugh.
many shows that have done
It's
that
meant
with
to
that
be,
pure
it's
intent.
meant, I don't know.
And it's just
Most
like,
of the shows I've seen, it's like it's meant just to be a cheap joke. A cheap.
If you don't get, like, I
laugh.
didn't get any references, like other than that one JoJo one.
It's like for example, like if they can't think of anything to fill this scene, they'll just throw a reference in there to fill it, hoping they might get a laugh. That's usually what it looks like to me. Like they're like, okay, they write it out, and they're like, well, really, in these two transitions here, because the manga just skips this or novel just skips this part, we don't have anything to fill these two scenes. What are we gonna do? Well, then one of the guys is like, hey, what about a Gundam G joke? Like, what do you mean? What if he says she's supposed to be Master Asia? And you're like, what? Yeah, dying with the East burning red, and then one other person laughs like, oh my god, like, no, fuck it, why not? I feel like it's just something that's thrown in there just to fill the scene, because if not, that'd just be an empty scene with him just staring there like that, looking stupid, and it would just make it feel weird. It'd be a weird transition. So they just threw the joke in there. This wasn't like, hey, if you relate to this, you like this, but it was just thrown in there to fill that scene. But I know what you're coming from, Shadow. But I don't think that was done in this show.
But, like, here's the thing. I think me and Red are on the same page. We both like reference humor because it's just like, I feel like it's double-edged sword, so it works. So let's say it referenced Death Note, like it did, and it referenced the second season of Death Note, which I hated. It would hark back to the negative emotion, which would make me hate that scene, and possibly at the anime if it was the first one. So it has a risk to it. So reference humor is still an art.
I actually disagree with you on that one. I don't like reference humor. I don't
like it.
hate it. It's like, I don't hate it. You know, but I'm fine with it. It's kind of, I look at it kind of like rope, you know, where it's fine if you don't do it too much. Now, they did it, what, 3? They did like 3 really big references we caught, right? I think it was during this show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, 3, that's not too many in 13 episodes. If we caught 10 real obvious references or 12, I'd fucking hate it. You know, like the 30-year-old virgin when they threw references out everywhere during that.
Yeah,
You know,
I like
that's
what like
I didn't like it that way. I took too many. You know, but if I have small doors to them out, I'll look at it more like, okay, you're not doing it trying to make me like your show because of the references. You're doing this because you didn't have a joke for this scene, and you're like, let's throw something in there, you know, and you just threw in a reference to something. And I'm fine with it in that regard. That's what I feel like they're doing here, because there aren't like a ton. It isn't like every 5 minutes they're throwing out a reference or doing JoJo faces, you know, or throwing a small little Pokeball-ish ball at each other and say, I catch you, you know, or something stupid like that. You know, so it's not like they're trying to win you over with references. They're just using them to fill these small gaps they have in the show where they have nothing else. I'm fine with them in this case.
All right, then. So should we go over to conclusions? Anybody else have anything to say about the show?
I don't think I'm.
Boy, did that pole fall, man. I gave it an 8 out of 10. I gave that falling an 8 out of 10.
I like the ending where it's like, no, you cheated. That doesn't
Yeah,
count.
that was hysterical.
We ended up losing.
Ended up losing because of it? Yeah, that
And it's like, what? What? What are you talking about? No one was looking at me. We were both looking at you the whole time. Why were you looking at me the whole time? I thought you hated me.
Yeah.
Then this episode was kind of like, it was funny, but it was the episode where I came to the conclusion that it's like, I'm not getting an end to this, and that just annoys me.
You definitely weren't getting.
And this is following into my final rating of like, the show is very, very good at times, but it also does
one
really
more
dumb
thing
things.
I gotta mention. One more thing. 8th grade syndrome can give a hell of a pep treat.
Nah.
Yeah.
That asshole. Everyone likes him. He's so popular. Perfect at everything. We all need to come together and kick his ass because he won every other event. It was like, yeah. It's like, yeah, you know what? He's great. Fuck him. Let's kick his ass. We got this on the count of 3. So it's like, man, they're good at these speeches. Like, man, that's really a hateful pep speech. God.
Yeah, no, that was a good scene. I like that. And the fact that everyone was okay with it purely because the what's his name? The trap was leading it.
Yeah, that was great. So, anyways, on conclusions. What do you go ahead and give your rating? No, that's his show. He goes first.
Fine.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll say it's a nice 8. I would recommend it.
Okay.
I would recommend.
Knowing second season.
Knowing second season.
Knowing that by the way you're saying this, I'm going to be really disappointed they're going for a 3rd.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
You cut out.
Are they going for a 3rd?
I don't know if they're going to a 3rd. I know the last episode is there's a school event, with something about a marriage. It's not their marriage, and everyone's in a wedding dress. I have no clue if they're going for a 3rd, though. I think the manga is still going.
Okay, so you like it.
That's an OVA, actually.
No, that's an OVA, yeah. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Last, that's the last recorded episode. Like, I'm not going to spoil the ending, but that's like...
All right, so you like it. You think it's an 8.
Yeah.
Anything exceptional that you want to say about it, or negative?
No, it was a good... I think I've said everything I need to, but last few notes. It was a different harem. I actually like harem, so it's fine. I like the main character. I liked a lot of the characters, which usually doesn't happen for a lot of harems. I usually like one character. Again, I don't like how.
So you're like 2 of 2 instead of 1 of 2, but okay.
Yeah. And other than that, it's fine. Oh, it's a good name. I recommend.
Okay.
Not,
You want to
like,
go, Shadow?
by the way, 8 is like something I recommend to anime fans. 10 is something I like try to get someone into the genre, kind of like JoJo.
All right, so where it does some things really, really well, it falls on tropes, and it's one of these shows. I don't watch these shows specifically because I get involved, and there's never a fucking end to these things ever.
Yeah.
They just go and they go and they go and they go, and it's like, oh, well, I don't know. We're gonna keep this going to the very last second of the very last episode, and then we'll decide. And then sometimes they just never get to the point where they end it. And I've seen 2 of those, and I basically swore off this stuff for good. This is the one that's a problem because I kind of got into because it looked different, and it being different kind of hurt it more because it didn't end. So this not seeing the second season, not knowing if there is an end, not knowing if they're going for the third, having it not end is fucking infuriating, and it really hurts what's there. And I'm gonna end up giving it though a 7 still because it's good. It's better than average. It's like, so we're talking about in its own spectrum with other things of this type. It's not a 5 because it's better than that, just from the main character and how he acts alone. And then some of the scenes and some of the jokes and some of the writing are good when they do it right, and how well it's done pushes it from a 6 into a 7. And I think you can't really make that extra inch to go to an 8. I don't ever see this being a 9 or a 10, but I like, if it worked super hard in the second season, maybe an 8. But I don't know. I don't really know if it could. That's what I'm feeling. How about you, Rodden?
Okay. Me? I don't know. I feel like this show's a dime a dozen. Like, populated genre, and it does a little bit to separate itself. Doesn't do enough. Falls in too many of the same tropes that the genre does, either by necessity or by choice. You know, I just feel like the show isn't worth recommending because, truthfully, you can watch 90% of the shows in this genre and get a similar, if not the same, experience. The main character does stand out, but it doesn't stand out enough to worthy even be attempting to recommend this to stand up the genre because they'll just come across this eventually anyways.
Yeah, but like,
it isn't like something
like the genre.
We shouldn't have to go out to watch because I don't feel like this is any different from all the other high school romance comedies. You know what I mean? They can go watch any of them and you're going to get the same experience and you're going to be feeling the same at the end with the minus of school days. Okay? Because that's the only one you're going to end up with a wrong sense of applause. Okay? So I feel like this show is average. I give it a 5. But because for everything it does good, it does another bad, or it just falls into the generic. And I just don't feel like it does enough to stand out.
Yeah. Well, that's just, like genre, personally.
Yeah,
because all of them are very
shows
similar.
that are meant to break genres up. That's the thing. You can break genres. You could do awkward romance comedies. Okay, you could do something like Hayate the Combat Butler, where that's also just a romance comedy, but it does so much more different. It's so unique.
Yeah, but it's not a high school one. It's a different genre.
It's a middle school one. It's a middle school harem. It's the same thing. It's just a different generation of kids. That's all.
Wait, which one?
Hayate the Combat Butler. That's a harem anime. It ends up becoming a harem anime. And it's so different from anything else like it. It's entertaining, it's funny, it's wacky, has its own unique sense of humor. When they do their reference humor, it isn't like, do you know this thing? They make sure you know it's a reference joke, like in episode 7 when they do the Metal Gear Solid spoof, and he's walking around with the headband, and he's sneaking by people in the box. Best reference joke I've ever seen. Okay, anyways, but it's like there are things that are called genre breakers because they break the way the genre operates and they do things their own way. This show had an opportunity to do that, and if they did, they would have been great. But they took the safe route, and it ends up being generic, and then just being another one in a giant pile of 200 other harems out there. Okay, that you've already seen it.
All right, so that just about wraps everything up. The next one is going to come up. Personal favorite.
One.
Dragon Ball GT.
Collaboration with Dragon GT.
I'm recommending the first arc, which is...
No, I'm recommending the first arc, so it's my turn.
You're
How
the,
dare
yeah,
you?
yeah, I forgot.
Wow, that was
I'm
you just
sorry, I'm stealing your Dragon Ball GT thunder.
Someone came GTing around the corner.
My
Someone
God, I'm
Wow,
stealing your
man.
GT thunder. I'm sorry.
Unbelievable, man.
Someone
You
cheat
just-
Super
you
Dude's pants.
just- You just Kyle Kenned me in the balls, man. Unbelievable.
Oh, it's terrible. I even wrote it down in mine. I even had the option to see that it wasn't you. Oh, no.
Unbelievable, man. We've been playing for a month now.
Comic came in their
You
pants.
just kind of Kyle Kenned me in the night.
1 to... So let's just go 1 to 20 on this one. We're going to be a little bit in the baby, but it's fine.
I don't know.
Do you think 25?
Where's 20 ending? I'm looking more for like a stop point.
The best stop point would probably be 16 because that's the end of the Black Star Dragon Ball Saga.
Okay.
And Baby starts at 17, so I think maybe 20-ish.
Then I
By
would
the way,
say
Drill
16,
is this week, by the way, just to confirm.
What is Drill?
Drill.
Okay. So it won't be one this week, is what you're saying.
Yeah. So we can watch the 25.
Okay, we'll do 25.
All right.
All right.
One thing before we get on post. So Poison, you saw the second half of the second season, right? You saw the second season. All right. So warning: there's going to be spoilers for the new part for the second season. So Poison, at the end of the second season, or in the middle, or wherever, does he actually get a solid love interest, or is it still just open?
It's still kind of open.
Is there any conclusion done?
It's heavily inferred though.
Are you sure? Because you said heavily implied or inferred on other things, and they've been kind of loose. What do you mean?
I'll after GT, I'll recommend the second season. Then you can make your own.
No, here's the thing.
No, don't make me sit
Reddit's not interested in it, so I don't think that would be.
Okay.
If I'm going to be interested in it, I'm going to watch it on my own, but I'm not going to be interested, again, if I'm just going to get strung along to wait for third season comes up, it's going to be really fucking
Well, basically, he's saying, what do you declare to... Has he kissed one of them? Has he kissed two of them? Has he kissed all three?
Has there even been a step forward in the relationship?
Has there been a serious step, or is it just like, oh, she's just closer to him physically than the other?
There's been no physical contact. I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
There's been almost physical contact.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll have to see if he actually gets like.
So not
I'll
yet.
you on that.
Not
I'll
yet.
update you on
So
it.
not yet.
Pink-haired ice chick or new chick?
I'm pretty sure it's the pink haired, but I have to go watch see the. That's what they're hinting at because I don't know, the new one has like scenes that kind of hint at more. But it's not 100% set in stone. That's the thing.
Mm.
It's not what you want.
So it's wait for season 3 is what
It's
it
wait
is.
for it's wait for more content. Yeah, it's still being told.
That's why I'm going to see the manga.
Because they can't. You can't pick one until the end. That's the issue. It's like they can't pick one anymore to show, or else it ruins
Nisekoi already ended.
It ruins all the other episodes.
I mean, you could keep going, which is like trying to keep the like after the emotional part of the relationship where you get together, you can do the keeping the relationship going part for the third season.
What I would love to see is an anime where they do that. He gets together with one girl. It doesn't work out because guess what happens when you're in high school? It doesn't work out.
My little sister can't be this cute.
Okay.
Shadow knows what I'm talking about. Shadow knows what I'm talking about. Shadow knows what I'm talking about.
Are you talking about that one anime where the hoes are trying to fuck his little sister?
It's not just an anime. God. It has like 2 trillion porn spin-offs.
Of course it
Shadow
does.
has no clue what's going on here. Shadow has no clue.
Joe, you're talking about. Oh my god. Oh, manga sensei or.
Yeah, no, it's actually the same vein as Air Manga Sensei. They actually made an appearance in Air Manga Sensei. But it's exactly what you want, Reddit. It's exactly what you want.
It is not what I want. Okay,
accept yourself. Accept your feelings.
Anyways.
You know it to be true.
We do not know it to be true. But anyways.
You like Air Manga Sensei.